Nee. Okay. So folks, today we are covering plane and line in space. Previous time, I hope you remember this, we covered the line and the plane. Now we cover other topics, and we get how they correlated to each other. So again, we have several equations: general form, vector form, and sections, and the parametric one. You know what we need to do, right? Will you cover all forms during the class? No. Parametric. So let's write it and discuss this.
We also know the equation by 3 points.
Do you mean when we wrote this number?
Yes, yes.
I said it's not when we call it form, actually. But we will use it. Okay, because actually it's based on 3. So you're writing 3 vectors and finding them. Because x2 minus x1, and what is it actually? It's a vector now. Okay. So this one, general one, actually it's very helpful in some cases, but it is. The vector form. Actually, it's more useful than general one. Why? Actually, it's the same, you may see that. But most of the time, when you work at least in robotics or whatever in game dev, you can receive n, normal to the plane. And you're kind of presented in this manner. Because actually, it's much easier that if you have n, it's easier to run one vector than plenty of them. And after this, you can write like this. Can we explain what does it mean d in our case? What? And in intuitive manner, not just that, okay, you call it as terminology, but how can I use it? Where it's applicable?
When we, for example, find the intersection with axis.
Other ideas. Actually, you need to understand, so what the main goal of these forms and previous forms, I mean, line in space, line in plane, and so on. You need to watch on your, you need to look at your equation and understand what's going on. What is it? How it look like?
If d is 0, our plane will go through origin. And
yes.
By changing d, we can move.
Yes, so you can shift up and down. And for instance, actually it will be our first task, and you need to use this this, how to say, you need to use D to solve this task. In sections, why is the best one, where is the best place? Where you can use it to see? For which purpose?
And then the section is one axis.
Any other ideas? Can you easily draw this one?
Oh, no.
What about this guy?
Yes.
Why? Because it will be according to the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So if I want to draw it, I need to put it in. I mean, you can do it as you like, but as for me, it's easier to use this way. You just x, y, and z, and so on. This one, it works the same. I mean, not work the same. I mean, the parametric form of the previous one. We have two variables there because in a plane we can go through one axis. I mean, you need two lines, and you go from one variable y, I mean, and v as well. Today I will solve the. It will be my task. I will solve on the whiteboard. Of course, I have a solution, but I will comment it. So. Because there are some tricky details. So we have this form. We need to write down our forms and draw the plane. Okay. What can I do? So actually, first of all, we can draw it. As you may see there, first of all, we need to understand what is it. It's section form because we have one there and something there. Okay. We can easily draw it. See, we have two there and two there according to x. 1, y, 1, and 3. So we can draw it easily using section form. Okay, after this, the easiest way to go to the general form, as for me, is use this guy. How can we do it? Because we need x2, x1, x3, x1. Actually, we already have it because x1, x2, x3, and so on. Let's write it there. Now I try to find general form. It will be, or you can say as Romo or Artyom mentioned that we can use free. Make a line, find the equation of the plane using 3 points. Let's look what I chose there. There, 2 will be 0. So second one 2, because it will be x.
We have more easier way.
So how?
Multiply by 6. Yes.
Can you see that I just removed the last row? Because x3 in this case will be 0 and x1 will be, and so on. I mean, actually, you can do like you said, so you can show your way, actually.
Okay.
In general form.
Multiply with.
So 2 1 3 equal 6. We multiply 2. Okay.
The equation. 2z minus 6.
Compilation.
So how did you take it? So explain step by step.
First step, we
Explain if you decided to show us a new way, do it. Because I didn't get how you solve it.
Покажи, что ты умножил на 6.
да, на общем месте.
I didn't get, for instance, our foreigner friends didn't get what you did. Try to explain, because otherwise you cannot speak with others. So how can you say it in not in fancy English, but like for dummies? We have 2, 1, and 3. What we are trying to do?
We try to
Find what? So the main goal to eliminate something. Am I right?
yes.
So what we are trying to do? What we try to eliminate? You try to eliminate this part. See, I don't use any fancy word like denominator and so on. I just said it like, okay, this part. You try to explain. Okay. Continue. Don't be strict. It's not a big problem. You need to try to speak. Otherwise, when you have a real foreigner, I mean, Suchi and so on, he will just say you goodbye and say, yes, from Monopoly, so try.
They multiply all parts by denominator, and if we see that the equation have
The first step, you try to eliminate denominator. How can you do it? You wrote it. Explain what you did.
first step, we take all denominators and multiply
Multiply them.
with
Okay.
the
Okay. You receive the number. What's your next step?
next step, we multiply all parts equation to multiply by number.
Okay. It's one way. Other way, we can use this guy. Why? Some cases, you know that most of the times, at least for me, when we're talking about planes, we need to have either 3 points or point and plane. I mean, line and point. So if we know only 3 points, we can use this guy. And I did it there, just because it's easier, as for me. The next form is parametric one. Actually, the normal form, it's we just took our n, it's equal to A, B, C. In our case, it will be 3, 6, 2. Multiply on R, X, Y, Z, and minus D. Or plus D. I don't remember. Plus D, H, because we have 6, minus 6. Equal to 0. And the last one. I especially wrote all the information there.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why our vector in the plane are not in the plane? Because x, y, and z, this is not a vector that line on the plane.
So actually, you can. How can you check? Is it correct or not?
Not normal vector, but vector v.
What do you mean? We didn't cover this part yet. You're talking about this one, the last one, or what?
In second vector form, they are using v, and then
In vector form, we are not using v.
back to the subspace v multiplied by
It's a radius vector.
Okay.
Okay. How a parametric walk works? You may see that first of all we need to choose some some point on a plane, 0. In my case, I choose it will be this one, for instance, 0, 1, 0. It's just my decision because we know this point. We can choose whatever we like. After this, we need to find two vectors according to this plane. MP, in my case, 2, minus 1, 0. So how it look like? 2 minus 1 will be and 0. And this one. So I just took P, M, and just find the vector. And put it there. We can check that it works, for instance. So we just choose some components, alpha and beta, and solve the equation, and we find the solution. Probably it won't be used during the midterm, but probably we will do it. So I recommend you to try this form at home. How can you use this form? How can you check? I give you a hint. Actually, you can find x, y, and z for each point. So you put find x. You put find as So you need to find 3 points and use this guy. Using this approach, you can check the solution because you can find any point on your plane. So you just take 3 points and find general form. Now it's your task. So let's discuss. After this, somebody will solve it on the whiteboard. So what can we see there? So we need to find equation of the plane. Okay, we have several forms. The easiest way, X for me, if you don't know anything, just to find 3 points and find solution.
We can find the normal vector to the plane.
Yes.
Then create an equation with D.
Wait a second. Parallel to the plane.
Parallel and only D's are different.
Yes, the D only changes. So it's the reason why I asked this question. After this, yes, we need to do something. So what does it mean in formal way? That one plane will be, for instance, alpha x plus beta y plus something. I don't know. I forgot how it's called. Z plus d1. It will be one.
it could be more.
Okay. So it will be the same things. So they will have the same part there. And to apply to the point. Now you need to think how to use it.
Just substitute in the equation and find d.
Okay, you find D. What else? So you find it.
Yes, we know A, B, C, and D, so we can construct our general
So
form.
try to solve it using your way on the.
I have D equals minus 9.
Okay, I mean, try to solve this task. Or you can show it to us. Okay.
So
We know that it's equal path for paths. So we have point 2 minus 3. Now we can just x, y, z. We can substitute in the 2x minus 5y minus 7z plus d. Because the only coefficient we don't know is d. Because as you have already mentioned, these parts are the same. And now we just substitute and have 4 plus 15 minus 28 plus d equals to 0. And we have d equal to 9.
9.
And why it's 9?
Why not?
Okay, 9. And after this?
And after this, you can construct our general form. So,
Okay, so there is several questions. Why did you decide that we can do? Why did you decide to put this guy there? So you decided to, okay, we have some point, and I put it on the plane. I mean, their coordinates in the plane. Why?
because we know that plane includes this point, and if we substitute it, we should drop 0 because it's a just general form.
Okay. Somebody didn't get her point. So again, he put because it consists of this point. Also, you know this problem that is parallel to each other, so only d is different. I mean different. And so this we have two equations, and we solve this task. So, clear?
Yes.
Okay. We are going to the last part of it, time and space. Actually, you may see it has a lot of possible ways. How many did you cover during the lecture? All of them?
I guess only one. Canonical equation.
Which one? Canonical?
Canonical, yeah. Is the
I will explain. Write down it on your. They explain why they appeared. because probably you won't use some form during the midterm, during the classes. It can be, because some of them are a bit rare. Despite it, when you have more tools, you're more flexible. You can solve more tasks, or in some cases it can be the best way to solve the task. So actually I divided them in two parts, as you may see. The last one is look like the line and plane, but like it's a line in space. And this one is mainly it's about planes. So this one we can consider here as x, y. It was in a plane. Now we can add z and receive in the 3D space. Also tau. When we put parametrical form, we have x, y, and z. Great. The last one. Of course, we can take 2 points, and as we did it in, how to say, in O in line, yes, or in plane, whatever, you can write like this and find your equation. Actually, you can go and fill this one, so it's together. This one based on the line. Let's go to the general one. What's it look like? It looks like a plane we covered today. Also the plane. We have 2 planes. Let's assume that my fat arms are planes, and their intersection, it will be our line. So we can find this line as intersection between 2 arms, for instance, 2 planes. Of course, we can represent it in this manner. So I put that. What does it mean? A. So it's the forms that they look like each other. Now let's go to the task. Again, we have general form, and we want to draw this line. For easier way, of course, as you may see, I mean, to easily draw it, I put special numbers, 0, 0 there, because it will be easier for me to draw. It's only the reason why I choose these precise numbers. So we have general form. After this, I decided to write it in vector form. So we can find 2 normal lines. After this, I find cross product between them. Why? We have 2 ends, and it will be our line, actually, 2 normals. And we find this equation. It will be our A. After this, we can use the force form, vector form. So what is it? How does it look like? A, it's our line and actually point. I mean, R, it's x, y, z. And we could solve this task. Actually, it wasn't a good idea to put x, I mean cross there, because it's not like this. It's not cross. But I hope you get it. And we will receive x, y, and z. But the most interesting one is how to solve how to find the parametric form using this one. We need to try. The problem is that we have more equations than variables, because we have x, y, and z, but we have only 2 equations. What can we do? We can assume that one of our variables is parameter. So we transfer z to alpha. And after this, we can solve this equation, because actually alpha is just a parameter. And we have 3, 0, alpha, 3, 1.
if alpha, for instance, equal to 1. So I say, okay, my alpha is equal to 1, and I solve this equation. Of course, in this case, I will have alpha and put it in 6. To understand all this stuff, it's better to do it by yourself. So I recommend you to do it at home because it will be easier for you. So it's our solution under our line. So it's one plane and other plane. So this one x and this one other one. So one plane we have. See, we have only according to y-axis there. So if you write it, so we have equal t to 0, and when you write the section form, you can receive this there. And also you can draw the upper one too. Like this. You can write it in canonical form. Of course, there is 0. It's not good. But despite it, it's a section form. And the -1 parametric form. So our line check on the x there. I mean x, y, and we go on the according to z direction. And we can just have alpha there. This is our parameter. And the last one, I just wrote as in normal form. I mean 5 and 1 and 2 and so this stuff. Okay. Next task, second one. So what do we know there? So we have again plane and perpendicular to the two planes. We know that we can receive this line and we can even find the point. So actually we can solve this task. How? Try to think. Try to, no, wait a second. I want that other will get help. So it seems that you try to solve it at home. So it's nice. I appreciate it.
How one line could be perpendicular to two non-parallel planes? I didn't get.
Why it should be perpendicular? So you have two planes.
So our point should be somewhere else, somewhere there. So you can find the line, the equation of the line, and we have point somewhere on this line. What is mean perpendicular? It will be collinear to the line in our case. So N1 and 2 perpendicular to these planes. What does it mean? It's cross product between N1 and 2.
So our line not perpendicular to plane, but to normal vectors of this plane.
So your point will be there. So your point will be there. So perpendicular to the plane, yes. Because how you can how can you represent the perpendicular, the property of say how you can find the angle or whatever of your plane? I mean, for instance, how we can represent it? It's perpendicular to something. You can find the normal vector because you can operate with vectors. And normal vector will represent, is it perpendicular or no? One vector, second vector. Bam, bam. So the first one will be in our case 1 minus 2 minus 1 and
1, 1, 3.
1, 1, 3, yes. So we can find A in this case. So what does mean A? With the equation of the line which we needed. I mean, because on R, okay, we need to multiply it on R. Boom. After this, we can take a point, this 1, 2, 3. So, and we can do something.
So it's perpendicular to normal line.
Yes, so you can represent, you can rephrase it as not perpendicular to the planes, but perpendicular to the normal lines of these planes. Because in this case, you can interact. I mean, you know what does it mean, perpendicular, I mean, normal lines and so on. It's one possible way to solve this task. How did you solve?
I think I solved in another.
Using canonical form.
No, I solved in another numbers.
So by the way, what the
I made cross product between two normal vectors. Then I substitute into the plane equation, find the plane perpendicular.
why do you need so
Yeah, I did the wrong thing.
okay. How's the program phase? Did you solve the task?
I guess yes, but I'm not sure.
I have the answer. The answer is now we have all needed resources to solve this task. So try to do it.
mean that new vector which will receive after cross product will be directing vector of our line?
Again, the question.
So when we make cross product, we receive another vector.
Yes.
And it will be direction vector for our line.
So did you solve the test? Did you receive the?
So after cross product, just one point in numerator and in denominator it's vector.
Good.
Минус 6. Минус 6. Плюс 1. Ну, блин, это вектор 1, 1, 3 должен быть. Наша линия, короче, 1, 3, 2, минус 3. Скажи, чем равняется? Запиши. Ладно, поставим. 6.
That's our third vector. We can substitute in the general form. This vector is our coordinate, and the x, y, 0 and z. That 0 is this point.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
How can we get, for example, general form from canonical one? And vice versa?
Actually, as I remember, you cannot do it because in this case, as you remember, you don't have enough variables because you have x, y, z. But in this case, you will receive tau. But it's a good question. Actually, you need to. So how does it look like? So let's discuss. It's a nice question. We have canonical form, and we want to receive general form. So how many solutions do you have? Infinite. Why? Because we have one line, and we need to find intercept. So it will be line, for instance. And we have to find intersect. I mean, we need to find such two planes which make this solution. So it will be, for instance, it doesn't matter for us. So you can, but in this case, you need to make a variable as I did it before there. So lambda, and change the some variable z, for instance, to this lambda. So you need to go from the down to the top. You may try it at home probably. So for instance, you have this form, you have lambda, and you write it canonical form in one. After this, you receive this and go to, I mean, from the bottom to the top. And in this case, you can get what's going on. But actually, it looks useless because you need to find such planes. It will be infinite number of this. Actually, it's because of null space. Null space you will cover in the next semester. Because row space, column space, left null space, and null space. So today we will cover a bit, but in opposite manner. Okay, the third task. I mean, no, it's yeah.
perpendicular to the plane or to the normal line on the plane, like in previous task?
In the previous task, I think it should be parallel to the both plane.
Yes.
With different task. The answer is following. Renat, did you know how to solve this task? Do you know?
Not yet.
At least we have a lot of, we have a lot of planes. For us, it's easier to operate with normal vectors in this case. Because you can see some words like perpendicular and so on. You know a lot of properties of perpendicular planes. So try to figure out using this one to solve the task.
Да, тебе нужно найти будет точку, которую дифференцию ставить в плоскости. Это можно, но это можно делать. Ты если бы она получилась,
You solve?
yes. Нашел? Плоскость. Нашел. Это решение. Какое тебе решение нужно? Давай 8 третьих минус 10 квадратик или 1 квадратик. Ну тоже не возьмем, просто и can I explain?
Let's wait a bit. I like to listen Renat.
No. I'm stuck.
So let's handle this on the whiteboard.
Здесь одно.
It's the best way to avoid some stuck situations.
should I go to the whiteboard? Okay, but
Don't worry, we are trying to
don't
solve
need to be
this.
smart.
You don't need to smart. At least I am a very dynamic person, and I really like to be on the whiteboard because the teacher can explain you your mistakes. So how you try to solve this test?
Okay.
So what the main ideas in your mind?
So the intersection of the planes is a line, and the plane passes through this line. However, don't know.
Let's discuss. First of all, let's discuss what the difference between line and plane.
A plane is a bigger set of points than a line, I guess.
Yes, and what does it mean for us? How can you obtain?
It is a set of lines.
Can you find the? So you have some line, and for instance, we go up and down.
Yeah, we can move it and we get a plane.
So it means what we need to operate with. We have some variable. I mean, it will be d. So in d you should have some variable because in this case we will have this set of planes. Of course, it's not so clear because in this case you need to know the how to say the way how to go through this. But in this case you can try to solve it. So try.
Okay. So I get the general idea, but I don't really get what exactly.
So try to experiment. Let's say to make experiments, try to something. Is the way to solve the task.
Oh my god.
Bless you.
Yeah, I guess we should transfer it to some form.
Ну, окей, там без разницы, коэффициент такие же.
Коэффициент, потому что здесь это просто нормально.
Параметрика формы решили.
А я по мне параметрика форма это любимая форма моя. Параметрика она очень простая. Ренат, first equation is equal to 0.
Yeah, I know it's always equal to 0. But I'm not that good at converting lines to different
I mean,
forms.
as I can see your coefficient.
Okay, yeah.
Они пересекаются.
I write it the same way first time.
Это перпендикулярно.
So from this we can get a line.
So let's imagine the situation. See, we have two planes.
Yeah.
Okay, we find the line.
Okay.
It's this line. Is this line and is perpendicular to the plane. So we have line. We need to find a plane. It should be perpendicular to this plane. So we need to consider normals. So
yeah. Okay. We need to consider the normals of split planes.
So actually, first of all, yes, if I were you, probably you solve another manner. Yes, I find the equation of the line. Of the intersection between two planes.
But in which form?
It's up to you because at least you can write normals for each plane.
For each of these planes?
Yes.
Параметр формы шикарная. У нас есть вектор, который припределенной плоскости. Забираем его просто 3 минус 4.
What will be the the line?
Здесь мы получаем.
What will be the intersection of it? How to find intersection line?
Вектор.
Intersection vector.
Да. Почему у нас 0 получается?
Yes.
Тут 6, минус 6. 6. Стоп, минус 6, минус 6, 12. 6.
Could you say the answer for this product? If you do the same way, you should use.
Получили вектор.
Ага,
понятно. Потом мы находим просто любую точку в этой линии.
Вот скажи.
Ну, допустим, ладно, ты получил вектор. Потом мы можем найти любую точку в этой делать число в этой линии. Типа c0 равно 0 получит такую систему.
Еще раз, мы можем взять любую точку?
Нет, нам нужно найти точку, пересечение, ну,
Тёма.
в этой линии.
Ты находил кросс-продукт таким образом?
Каким?
Ну, ты находил пересечение, это уравнение прямой, можешь сказать?
Пересечение двух плоскостей?
Да.
Я могу сказать. Там нужно найти.
I'll trust you.
Сказать?
Ну, ты находил каким образом?
Ну, нашел вектор, а потом нашел
Ты
точку.
нормально нашел, все. So, can you say the normal vector? Cross product between two normals. What do you say?
Окей.
Because we don't want it.
51, 6 и negative 20.
You already minus the solution.
Minus
Okay,
12.
so what's the solution? I'll trust you. What is the solution?
51,
Yeah, okay.
6, minus 12.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, we did some mining because we got this.
After this, okay. But we find on the normal vector. We didn't find the equation line yet.
Любую точку завершим.
Okay, so
Просто
this is
разорвать
a normal vector of
и
a
после
line.
такой системы уравнений нашел высадить. То есть получится такой
With a line, with a line.
То есть сравнение движений можно писать так параметрически. То есть корень в ноль,
Это типа что? Это уравнение линии. Пересечение двух плоскостей.
Нет, это параметрически задана точка плюс вектор. Направляющий.
Все, по факту. Это какой-то просто
Да.
параметрическая форма записи.
У нас тут есть линия и вектор, который наш плоскость должна быть на линии.
Еще состоит уравнение прямой. Вот,
Я могу спросить параметрически.
Не совсем это понимаю.
Вот из точки, вот есть два вектора, из точки
Remember?
проходящие. Они сдаются на линии плоскости.
So,
У тебя есть где-нибудь написано про параметрические записи? Ну что читаю?
Вот.
Что-то такого, но
R, it's xy.
точка и
Точка и вектор, да.
I mean, xyz.
Просто было
XYZ for our line.
Можно?
Окей.
Хорошо. Если у тебя есть P1, точнее, P0 точка, вот, допустим, это будет A, B, C.
So,
Есть P1.
as you can solve it, either you can write it in this manner. I mean, so, but we don't have x0, y0, so actually we need to find some point. How did you find the point on this line?
P1 минус P0.
Maybe we can
Это
substitute
просто переменная, которая параметрическая.
Радиус вектора.
Nice idea.
По факту это
Right
направляющий
thing
вектор
this way.
просто.
Right.
Это просто точка.
Да.
Так вот линия, потом точка.
Let
Wrong.
x be 0, y be 0, and that would be...
How did you find the point of the line?
I take z is equal 0 and find
Yeah.
Or x is
X is
equal.
0.
if
We
z
can,
if
we
z
can subtract.
is equal 0, x should be equal
Да, попробуйте его субстрат.
2.5.
А мы типа ничего не природники у нас просто так остается.
Ну да, тоже не прямой.
Ну, нет, это на самом деле. Ну,
Галерка, вы там поняли? Решили задачу или нет? Или кому говорить?
равняется.
X и
Ну
z.
все.
Ну да.
Вот так. Кажется, нам здесь просто я не понял, что это еще такое. Или может быть вот такая запись линии нам очень удобно.
Да, и очень приятно, ну, легко для понимания. У нас есть точка, направляющий вектор.
То есть еще раз, сейчас есть, что здесь вот эта штука.
Ну да, вот.
Мы понимаем, что
Тебе нужно найти точку. Найти точку, которая, ну, является пересечением этих двух плоскостей.
окей, я представляю, где вы, например, z0,
Сейчас больше 2х плюс 3 минус 8. 2х минус
0,0
3.
не подходит?
Нет, не подходит.
Надо, чтобы точка лежала.
Да.
Было решением уравнения.
Допустим, z0, да, у нас 2х плюс 3 минус 8 равно 2х минус 3y минус 2 равно 0. Сейчас мы решим, получится 4х равно 1. равна 2,5.
А если отнимем, то
Нормально 5
6.
решений, это будет
Если
сюда,
равно,
пока.
то есть у нас есть точка
А нормально 5 решений будет
1.
ну, потому что нормально как бы решение.
Теперь мы
У нас
Нашла точку?
две нормали.
Да,
У нас
нашла.
будет
Знаешь,
вектор.
И у нас получается, что
знаешь точку, знаешь вектор, который является пресечением. Напиши уравнение линии.
Да, и мы можем
Параметрический форме.
Сейчас,
Потом
направляющий вектор. И вот этот направляющий вектор мы берем. Да, 51, 6
Я
минут.
могу.
у нас два направляющих вектора. Ну да, для плоскости у нас два направляющих.
Вот. И потом мы пишем то же самое, то есть для второй точки, для второго направляющего вектора какой-то бета будет, тут вот 3
Смотри,
минус
верхний левый
24, да? И что мы теперь типа
Да.
Это уравнение линии, это уравнение линии.
не знаю.
А вот так вот это уравнение плоскости. У нас есть точка и два направляющих вектора. Два поляризатора.
то есть тоже типа у нас вот эти просто какие-то
Уравнение
коэффициенты,
линии.
которых мы не знаем.
X, Y, Z равняется.
Это у нас точка написана в плоскости.
Что?
А как мы
Лучше вертикальную форму запиши.
типа из этого что-то получим потом? То есть вот мы захотим от этого перейти в какую-нибудь, например, genital форму.
Хорошо. Возьми как матрицу. И
Нужно
как
просто в
вектор.
эту параметрическую форму, как с параметрической формы перейти.
Пробую, да.
Может, x, y,
Сейчас я запишу, пожалуй.
Равняется типа, можешь P0, ну, пока молчи выйдет. P0.
Плоскости
Любая
Вообще,
точка.
что они будут
Плюс, допустим, альфа, это будет наш параметр. Альфа и вектор, который нашла. Да.
А как он обозначается?
Назови его А. Ну, можешь написать типа. Да, А вектор.
Окей.
Вот тебе параметрическая форма
Так,
записи.
P0 я нашла, а вау, волшебный.
Да.
Здесь вот это вот и
Ага.
получаем.
P0 ты знаешь, и вектор ты тоже знаешь.
6, 0, 2. А параметры можно находить?
Ну,
Параметр, он как раз таки параметр, то, что задает все, он должен остаться.
прям так пиши
Да.
альфа.
Окей, согласна. Хорошо.
И теперь вектор,
Графические
который ты нашла.
формулы не страшные.
Ну,
Ага. Вот. У тебя теперь есть уравнение линии.
Что еще с ним делать?
So, okay, you find the equation of the line. Could you explain again for foreigners and for our guys how you did it? How you find the point?
Okay, so we have the parametrical form of line. To find, do you need to explain how to find the normal vector?
Again, normal vector, I explain again. So we have two arms. For normal vector for this line or this plane is this arm actually, and for this plane is this one because it's you have a plane. The normal is like this. So boom. So cross product provides us the direction.
Yes.
After this, we need to, so we know the direction, but we need to find the equation itself.
Okay, to find the equation, we just play with these two equations. Like, I have subtracted them, then I have substituted y for 0, found that, and then I found x.
Why did you decide that some variable should be equal to 0?
Because it can be equal to 0. If we find the point which satisfies these equations, it's
Actually
doesn't
just did this guy. I transformed it to alpha. You did the same.
Okay.
It's from one form to another form. I said you had to play it at home, but you did it there. Good job.
Okay, so we still need to find the equation of the plane, and it scares me.
In parametrical form, I think
Oh.
it's better.
Yay, yeah, the
Напиши пока in general form. Там x equals y равняется.
You have one point and two direction
I help you. I will help you.
Okay, so what do I need to do? Why am I still
Write the equation of a plane in a parametrical form in general.
You have one point and two direction of vectors.
Yeah, okay, so it's like and we have the same parameter.
First alpha a.
Point same, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Alpha vector 1
Yeah, yeah.
plus beta
Vector.
vector 2.
Mhm.
And you have
Okay. So
phenol.
this can also satisfy this.
Yeah.
Okay. So all I need to do is find.
You should find the vector 2.
Yeah. And the vector 2 can be found using the another plane which is perpendicular.
Yes. A vector 2
Normal.
is a normal vector of a plane.
Okay, yeah, of a plane which it is perpendicular to, so it's all that simple. Like, yes.
-51 negative 2 plus beta 3 minus 2 4 4. Yes, congratulations.
Wow, this is.
How do you find 3 minus 2, 4? You just took.
Yes, I just took the normal vector of the other plane.
So how to find the general? I mean, so I want to find the general way around. How to do it?
Okay. Yeah, right.
Because we need to check. We know the answer in general form.
Так у нас есть, наверное, 3 уравнения, 2 неизвестных. Вы можете тут просто минус 6 равно 51 альфа плюс 3 бета.
Что?
Мы можем так сделать? Минус
А,
6 равно 51 альфа плюс 3 бета, допустим. А 0 равно 6 альфа минус 2 бета.
То есть типа мы можем взять как матрицу и...
Я не знаю. Может быть.
Clean
Окей.
work.
Clear.
Clean.
Okay.
Консоль.
6.
Clear.
Clear.
So, okay.
If you don't want to work at home, work there.
Почему ты живешь в строй?
Ренат, ты стараешься сделать general form?
Да.
Ну, стараюсь пока что смотрю, как ее можно делать.
Are we able to write them like that?
What again?
Are we able to write them like that?
Ну, там доска свободна.
Нет. No, you cannot use. I make cross.
Why?
Because our camera can watch, I mean,
Видишь?
can only make this part.
Okay. So this is some of vectors.
This board.
Is all
This camera.
No, this camera covering on this part when I dancing in front of whiteboard. I mean, projector.
Он из школы пришел.
So guys, let's solve it. You need to know how to go from parametric to general. Because you say, okay, I solve it. Can you prove
Okay,
that you
you
solve
may
it?
find a free point and
I can't. What?
and find
A salute by 3 points.
Нет, если она сказала,
You can do whatever you like.
You may take
receive the answer,
A1
you know
and
the answer,
B1
try to do it
and
solve it.
A1
yes,
and
different
B2.
values for
Okay,
alpha
so-
and beta, and we have 3 points then.
Okay, and we may find.
And yes, make matrix and got the determinant.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. You should to
Okay, so I will explain in faster. They are talking that you have parametric form. What does it mean? You can find the set of points contained to this.
Yes.
How can we find the
Oh,
plane if we
okay.
have 3 points?
0, 0.
So you can
Например,
take, for instance, alpha equal to 0, beta equal to 0, you will have 1 point.
Okay,
After
I
this,
have it.
yes.
Okay, so I can have alpha equal to 1, beta equal to 0, and find another point.
Sure.
And by
And you have 3 points, and
I
after
can
this you can
get
find
the
it.
general form. Okay. Okay, so the first point is this one, and the second point is this one plus. Okay, okay.
0, 1 и 0, 2 можно взять.
I think if alpha is equal to 0.
Yes, I guess it's the alpha. Anyway, I will make it beta 0 to.
Мы не можем взять альфа 1, 0, только все время альфа 0.
Можно.
Потому что мы, если возьмем точку 0,1 и 0,2, тогда у нас просто будет все на одну линию. У нас все на одной линии будут. Если альфа 0, бета 1. И если альфа 0, бета 2, у нас все 3 точки на одной линии будут.
Так я возьму сейчас B0.
А нам нужно найти 3 точки, такие, чтобы они... Да, не лежащие на одной прямой. Значит, альфа... Альфа должно быть каким-то значением тоже. В одной из точек.
100%.
Может, здесь 0,1 и 1,0. В центре.
Так, 51,6, 45.
Какие коэффициенты? Какие? 1, 0, 1. Если есть 0,1, минус 4. Это другая точка.
Я ее точку взял.
Окей. А я построю правильно или не будет? У меня.
Что взял?
Да я другую точку просто нашел. Я решил икс она взять. Да. Что сложно? Потому что это 10 третьих. Потому что 10 делить на 3, 10 третьих.
Я не эксперт. Ты сделал матрицу?
Делаю.
Вот сделаешь, я потом легко покажу. Если я помню.
Минус 1. Минус 1, минус 2. Что-то они такие похожи.
Да, я и говорю, типа, вот это первая строчка, вторая это третий, типа.
Да.
Эти свободный член, первый коэффициент.
Это вектор, вектор,
After
да.
this, we need to find a terminal. Right?
Okay, and what will determine? Okay, we will get the coefficient.
6 минус 11.
Сам коэффициент.
Okay. Actually,
My torture is over.
Мы можем...
it seems that you understand much more than if you were. I mean, if you said.
Well, that's right, but it took much more time to.
Что считаем?
I'm ready to
Считаем.
spend time.
Давайте не будем.
Ты хочешь знать правильно это посчитать?
Actually, if you decide that it's the right answer, you need to solve the determinant.
6, 4, да? 3, это ровно минус 0. Минус 1. X равен 0. Офигенно. 3, 12 минус 6. Минус 51 на 4. Минус 4.
Okay. So.
Плюс 100. 240. 240. 102 плюс 18, 120. А может скрыть на 120? Да. Y минус 1 умножить на 2 плюс z. Этого получается 0x плюс z, 2y плюс z минус 2 равняется 0.
So, did you receive the same answer?
2y plus z minus 2.
Mm-hmm. So at least they checked it was the answer, right answer. Okay. Now you deserve to watch the Sacred Knowledge.
You want to know why Slavs wear Adidas? Well, let me show you. Yes, Boris! To become true Slav, you must first understand what it means to be Slav. You need to understand why those gopniks behind your house always wear Adidas. Millions of years ago, the Adidosaurus Rex was born with a pattern of... Okay, the reason why Adidas is so popular with Slavs can be traced back to Summer Olympics in 1980 in Moscow. Is it because squatting was considered Olympic sport for that year? Well, no. Nobody even know what Adidas was. During the Moscow Olympics, Adidas was provider of tracksuits for whole Soviet team, with small changes in design, of course, to comply with strict standards of Soviet Union. What do you mean 3 stripes, блять? Make it 2, it's not circus here. And after that, every Masha and Maxim just had to have some Adidas in their wardrobe. But you know, access to Western world was very limited. So this meant you needed to know a lot of people and have good connections to even get close to owning this high quality fashion item. And when you finally got your Adidas and you got the real thing, it was symbol of high class and authority. Other than being a reminder of the good old times, there is simple explanation why Slavs still wear Adidas. Well, have you tried squatting in jeans? Aha, it's not so comfortable, is it? Dancing hard bass clearly best in Adidas direct suit. And just look at it. It is simple, clean style and is multifunctional. Question is, why would you not wear it? Squatting, standing, running from and towards some things. Maybe police, maybe vodka, maybe problems. No, Slav never run from problems. And whatever that problem is, tracksuit is here to help. Well, I hope this answers your question, my friends. In next video of how to be Slav, I will teach you how to properly dress like a Slav for every occasion. See you next time, my friends. Stay chick-bricky.
According to feedback, I need to explain and comment some videos. Okay,
why are you not wearing that?
Because you know.
You are not
Yes, I'm
Slav.
so. Yeah, so do you know why? This guy is Western spy. Yes. He writes his stories. Because true Slav needs to sit like this. It means he is a Western spy, you know? So, and I also comment this video. Okay. Now we are going to the last part. Unfortunately, we solved this task, more than I expected, but it's not a big problem.
5 minutes left.
5 minutes left? Okay, so we have the lines. Now we have a task about distance. I hope you can solve it at home, but I want to emphasize on one part. The part is following, is why this equation appeared. Do you know?
Yeah, we just take vector and multiply by cosine.
So it's projection.
Projection.
But do you know why this form appears?
If we will.
Do you know how to derive projection equation? Yes? Okay, if yes, actually I will explain it briefly in 5 minutes. So, where you can use maps, blueprints, this. If you want to know more, you can use this lecture. Now I'll explain so actually we have two forms, projection matrix and projection into D. So into D, I will go briefly to, I won't write it because we have there. So we have two vectors. One vector, and we want to project on this line. So what can we write? So what does mean E in this case? Error. Actually, we can assume that it's error between this line and this this between two vectors. So E is B, this vector minus AX. So where A is some vector and X is variable. So A is a basis. Actually, we can assume that it's basis and we have some coefficient. After this, we can write it in dot product. We can represent it as A transpose B minus AX because we discussed that. Dot product can be represented as as transpose form. We after this open these brackets, parentheses, and we receive the classical formula from the school. And there is a proof when we put numbers, when we receive projection solution. So it's equal to 3. So we can find X. Boom, boom. But, so in this case, I recommend you to spend more time on this. On the next slide actually. But what does it mean for our case when we have point and plane, distance between point and plane? You may have a question why we actually like this. What will be A there and R0? Where is the point? Point is A. So who can explain me what we are doing? What we are projecting on what? Because we have two vectors. We can project one vector on another vector or vice versa. So in this case, what we are projecting on what? Are you sure?
Vector from point to some point on the plane to our normal vector.
So in this case, see, we have B, it's an upper part, and our base is in the lower part. A is our basis, B in upper part. Our point on the lower part. Why?
We should normalize it.
Actually, in this case, how can you normalize? No. I just give you, I help you to ask questions. I give you a question, so it's better to think it at home because it won't be interesting if I answer it right now. If you didn't get, somebody will either explain during the class or we will discuss it later. So, good question. I just want to give you a hint about point. Actually, this A is not a point. What is it? You are not projecting the point. Actually, point A, it's a vector. And our line is R0. It's also going from this guy. So we are projecting this guy on this guy. And you may try it also at home. Try to change. So actually we solved this task on previous class. We use this equation. Try, so you already have the answer. Try to change. For instance, okay, let's project not this guy on this guy and find the solution. Try to get how it looks like. Also, I give you some, let's see, not so useful general form, previous one. Also, actually, we can represent it in another manner. You remember we have E, on previous E, it's equal to B minus AX. Actually, we can rewrite it in the other form. So let's find some metric, some transformation. Do you remember rotation matrix we did it?
let's find such matrix which makes this for us. Let's find P. So, and after this it will be outer product, be aware. I mean, outer product, it will be not the scalar, it will be the vector. And the projection matrix. So in this case we'll receive 1, 0, 0, 0. So we have this A, and we project. So we find this projection will be. So we have 1, 0. It's our vector A. Boom! We just put it. So we just need to take. Actually, we know that project on x-axis it will just need to drop the y-axis. We know it from the school, from the picture. Our projection matrix show it to us. 1, 0, 0, 0. So we projected it on the line. I think you need to spend about 1 hour to get all this material at home. And I also put there the general form, I mean in 3D or whatever D, considered it. So about this perpendicular distance to the point to the line. What actually did you get? So you need to use the first equation, but you need to represent your line in form which will help you. The problem is I lost the track. I lost the idea. What I want to say. Okay, if I lost, I lost. Going to plane. So about the plane, normal line. So boom, boom, boom. So this task, perpendicular to the distant point to the line, we just need to use this equation and present the last one. In this one, find the distance point from the plane measured parallel to the line. You also need, again, play with planes, and after this, solve the task. Not a big deal. If you need, I can provide you a solution for 8.1. I will send it to the chat. Okay. It seems that's it.